Greetings, diners, and welcome to another edition of the Cooking Zone here on the Doomstead Diner. And we are now, at last, in the final stages of preparation for our Diner 7th Anniversary Celebration Feast. And one of the feature items in this feast, one of the main courses, is a USDA Grade A Prime ribeye steak. And that is this guy right here. Is that a beautiful looking piece of meat or what? It's not huge, but I don't have a huge appetite, you know. And it's going to be enough for me, especially considering I'm also having with it some Alaskan king crab, because it's a surf and turf, not just steak for dinner on this occasion. And I just want to, before I throw this guy on the grill, I just want to go over some of the attributes of looking for a good piece of meat to buy. And if you look at this guy, and I'll bring him up closer to the camera. There you go. Have a good look, folks. And salivate all you want if you're a Metasaurus. The vegans here have tuned out by now. If you look at it, you've got marbling of fat all through the meat, not to mention a nice cap of fat on the outside. Now, I would have liked if they left more of the lip here, because there's some good meat in there that's really juicy and nice to eat, but this was trimmed up for the typical consumer, I guess, and it looks, it looks good. And the thing was, and the reason that I have this piece of beef is because it came in on sale at Three Bears, and I got this for the, get this price, USDA Prime ribeye steak for $5.59 a pound. That is hamburger price. Okay? Prime sirloin hamburger, or not even prime, just ground sirloin will run $5 and $6 a pound all the time up here. I don't know what the prices are down in the lower 48, but that's just an amazing price. And I got a package of 5 of these guys for that price. And so, I made a bunch of meals with a couple of them already, and they were delicious. Steak fajitas, I think I made, and I made steak and eggs. I don't know what else, but a few different meals with those first 2 steaks. But this steak is going to be used in the diner celebratory 7th anniversary dinner. And, as I said, we're in the final stages of preparing it. And what do we need to do? Well, like I said, or I might have wrote, I don't know if I said it, I've had this guy dry aging in the fridge for the last couple of weeks, and all that amounts to is sealing it up and keeping it down at 34 or so to Fahrenheit degrees to sit and rest, and it looks to me like it's quite ready. Sometimes you'll have steaks when you buy them from Chicago Steaks or Omaha Steaks, they'll be aged for, a month or 6 months, etc., etc. That's up to you how long you think aging your steak is a good thing to do. And some people, just want to eat it straight, cut off the cow, which is okay too. So now what we got to do before we cook it on the skillet is we got to season it up. And one thing that I talked about earlier is normally with a steak like this, most times of the year, and when I was in better health, I would cook this on the grill. I wouldn't say much, but I prefer a steak grilled on the open flames to one that is skillet cooked. But I'm skillet cooking these. Why? Because it's too fucking cold outside for me to go out in my crippled condition and grill this sucker. Okay? I'll go out there, I'll fall down, and I'll freeze to death. And I won't ever get to eat the fucking steak. Okay? So, I'm not going outside. I'm not grilling until all the ice melts, the Iditarod is over, and I can ride my cripple cart outside and grill in reasonable safety, okay? Okay. That's why it's getting skillet cooked. But skillet cooking is, in fact, has its advantages, okay? When you grill a steak like this fat, all this fat that's on here, drips onto the coals or whatever the heat source is that's underneath the grill, and it smokes up, and that imparts a lot of the flavor to the meat in grilling, and that's one of the reasons why grilling is a really good method for cooking meats. But on the other hand, skillet cooking a piece of meat is does other stuff. It will, when you skillet it, it will seal in the juices that would otherwise have dropped in to the flames, and then you get a really juicy piece of meat when you skillet, and plus, besides that, you retain or you don't lose all the fat that comes off the beef in the process of cooking it. And that fat, along with other stuff, in this case I'm going to make a Cabernet sauce, that stuff can enhance your meal. And if you go out to a good first-class restaurant, you're going to generally get skillet cooked. Sometimes they're also broiled, but in the better restaurants they're usually skillet cooked. So now, last thing before I sign off on this one is to season it up. And when you have a beautiful piece of meat like this, you don't want to overload it with seasonings, and you don't need to marinate it and so forth. It's already going to be tender. And all it's going to take, if I can do it, is a little bit of ground sea salt. You could also use kosher salt. You want to use a coarse grained salt, and a little bit of ground pepper. And I don't put much of either of these guys on. Other people will load them up. I wait until I have the thing cooked, And then I add salt and pepper to taste, you know. And that's basically all it takes to season up a beautiful piece of steak like this. Alright, we're going to head over now to the skillet, and this guy is going to go and get seriously heated up and ready to plate up for dinner. So we'll get over there, but for now, that's all the cooking doom. This time until next time, here on the cooking zone of the Doomstead Diner. See you later, folks.